Today is the 18th of December, and it is 3 o'clock. Ms. Shamrow, would you call the roll?
Absolutely. Mr. Eisbart?
Present?
Mr. Hesterit?
Here.
Mr. Seifert? Mr. Freisdorfer?
Present.
Mr. Williams?
Present.
Mr. Moss? And Ms. Shamrock is here. So we have a quorum.
We do have a quorum.
5. Mhm.
May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as distributed in the mail?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And opposed by nay. And we now have an agenda that's been adopted. That's nice. If no one objects, I'd like to group the minutes of the regular session of November 20th, 2025, the executive session of November 20, 2025, and the minutes of approval of claims December 9 of 2025. Is there any objection? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to do so.
So moved.
And motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay, and that passes too. So let's turn over the financial report, and it's your time on stage.
The only lines that were going above spending or below spending is the insurance, as was in the October report, the telephone service that was in the September report, the professional services that was in the August report, the legal services was in July, computer equipment was in the April report, and the training was in February, and then the landscaping was also a February report. All other lines are currently spending above benchmarks and are within their spending limits. That is,
That's it. Any questions of the financial report? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report of November 2025 as presented.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay, and that passes. How about some claims information?
today's claims are a total of $613,446. The largest claim was Signature Lawns, which is salt for all the locations. That was $266,244, and that was about 3 weeks of having to do salt because of all the snow we had. The second one is overdrive deposit for content purchases, and the third one was the employee premiums.
Okay, seems like a nice report of claims. Any questions on the claims? If not, a motion to approve,
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
And opposed by nay. That passes. Item 6, we have a clarification. We'll table. Would you like to discuss that?
Yeah, so for number 6, the transfers, after discussing it with Jill, we're going to table it till January because of all the expenses with the bonds. So we're just going to do that one in January.
Okay, so we'll pull that from the agenda and bring it up in January.
Mhm.
Item 7 is the approval of the treasurer's bonds,
Yes.
and that's a normal function. Would you like to explain it, or?
Sure.
Sure.
So as you may recall, while the main insurance for this is under the directors and officers policy, the treasurer's bond is still required by the state for us to have. So once it is approved by the board, it will be put on the gateway. I do have it here with me,
Would you like to
if
do
anybody
it?
wants to see it, so.
Okay. Are there any questions on that? If not, can I have a motion to approve the treasurer's bond?
So moved.
And a second? Further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. That passes too, thank you. You did a woman's. Good job. Okay. We have two committee reports. The first, the nominating committee, there was a Scrivener's error. Jill should have been nominated as treasurer of the organization, and Jim as secretary. Can I have myself as president and Marty as vice president? Can I have a motion to that effect?
Just before you go there, we also nominate, the nomination committee moves to elect Jill Knoll, our CFO, as treasurer.
Okay,
Other than that, we're good to go.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Jim.
Other than that, that's the other inclusion.
Okay, could you put that in the form of a motion?
All right, the committee nominates and moves to elect Jill Knoll as CFO, as the treasurer.
Okay, and a second, please?
Second.
Well, that came as a committee report, so it doesn't need a second. Okay. Any discussion on the nominating committee's report? If not, all those in favor signify by aye,
Aye.
and opposed by nay. That passes. The Capital Projects Committee.
And I'll start that report on behalf of Marty, who couldn't be here today, and then I will turn it over to you, Ben, if that's okay.
It's fine with me.
Great. So we invited 3 construction management firms for interviews. So a team consisting of the Capital Projects Committee plus library leadership interviewed all the firms, and all the firms had strong qualifications, and we thank all the firms for their time and participation. The Capital Projects Committee recommends hiring Hagerman due to their proactive cost control measures without sacrificing quality, prioritization of clear and frequent communication, their transparency, and their community and customer focus.
So with that in mind, I'd ask for a motion to select Hagerman Construction as the construction manager for Phase 1 of our facilities master plan, and in addition, to authorize the executive director to inform Hagerman of this selection and to begin the process of preparing a contract for construction management services and to execute that contract after legal review and negotiation as needed. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved for Hagerman?
Thank you. Second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Well, we have the beginning of a construction manager. That's very good. Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you.
Okay, the design team. That must be you folks.
It is.
Would you like to come up to wherever you can make your presentation and present?
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay? Great. Thank you for having us provide an update today. We're excited to be in front of you to share what we've been working on these last several months. My name is Erin Jennings, and I'm Principal Architect with Luminat, and I'm here with my colleague Dan LaRasa with Group 4 Architecture, and we have been working in collaboration on the programming and pre-design efforts associated to the FMP Phase 1 implementation projects. So as you are all aware, we are focused on the first 7 branches of improvement, and we'll talk about these in a little bit more detail. But really, the whole foundation and focus of this Phase 1 implementation has been centered around emphasizing the library's strategic vision for really creating dynamic and innovative spaces across all of these branches. It's really important, and we've really focused on the delivery of making sure that we're committing to the ideal real principles and outlines that have been established and identified in the facility master plan. We've really been engaging not only just library leadership and the capital planning committee, but also the community in these early conversations centered around the improvements at each of these branch locations. Through all of that process, we feel we've been really emphasizing and focusing on the added value that ACPL will continue to contribute to the local community, and alongside that process has been us building trust with the library team. So as I mentioned, I'm Erin with Lumina, and Dan is here with Group 4, and we really have been the library design lead in the programming and pre-design efforts these last several months. We continue to advance, the idea centered around the fact that we represent national library design expertise with a local community focus, and our design partners at Design Collaborative in Moak Park are excited to engage in the project process here starting at the beginning of the year, the first of the year for 2026, as we move into the execution of our schematic design process. With that, we are also in partnership with ERI here locally as our structural and civil. Those services will be a part of at least 3 of our branch projects moving forward.
Thanks, Erin. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. So again, Dan LaRossa with Group 4 Architecture. It's a real honor to be here with you all to be presenting this first phase of the Phase 1 project. So we're going to talk a little bit about the past 5 months of work that we've been engaged in. Just very quickly, what you can see on the screen right here, and a big thanks to Susan and Tanya and her team. We reached over 650 patrons and staff members this fall. So there was a significant amount of community engagement before we started any design work to really make sure that we're listening to the community. And so what that means is really we asked about just over around a dozen different program opportunities that we were hoping to hear from both the patron groups for each individual branch in the Phase 1 projects, as well as their staff members for what they're hoping to get out of these projects. So we won't go through each of these individually, but what you can see is just there's been a lot of desire for expanded program and community spaces, which is a trend we've heard about nationwide, and then also the opportunity where possible in branches such as Aboit, Shawnee, where there could be spaces for outdoor library activities. That could be story walks, reading gardens, or even just community plazas. And so there were some themes that run across all of the Phase 1 projects, but those are then being dialed in to each individual building program and architecture.
And then alongside the programming efforts that we've been working on, we've identified really the project scope levels into what we would categorize as light, medium, and heavy renovation work, and then also our new construction branch projects. So this slide is just a summary of where we have arrived in terms of the scope identification for each branch location, and this is really in alignment with what was established in the facility master planning document. Aboit will be a new branch, roughly between 18 to 20,000 square feet, and we're really planning that branch building to have that future expansion growth opportunity. DuPont is going to be a heavy renovation with a strategic expansion as we really assess the building envelope and understanding that there were some critical areas of opportunity for improvement at that branch location. Georgetown will be a heavy renovation. Hessen Castle will be either a heavy renovation or potentially a new location. So there's been some identification and enhancement and opportunity within that branch that is currently in consideration and study. New Haven will be a medium renovation. This renovation is actually intended to be conducted in a phase sequencing to allow the branch to be remaining open through the construction duration. So we're looking through that branch project from a pretty strategic lens. Shawnee will be a new branch location, roughly around 17,000 square feet, again within mind that future growth expansion opportunity. And then Maine will be a select renovation. We recognize that there have been recent improvements to Maine, so taking that into consideration and being strategic with what those renovation efforts are still underway as well.
So we're going to go through very quickly the status of each project individually, and then we can wrap up as well with what the next steps will look like in 2026. So for Aboit, we are again looking at that new 18 to 20,000 square foot branch. When we say design for future growth, we're going to be looking to make sure that the building can expand as once it's open, we start to see if there's still ongoing need. This building as well as Shawnee will both expand by approximately 50% over what you have now. Still in consideration of where the land will be for this building, but regardless of what the final location ends up being, you can see that the programs we've developed based on that community engagement and listening sessions we did this fall will include, again, increased meeting spaces, a dedicated storyscape, and a dedicated studio space as well. So really implementing that program and strategic vision that your library system has done a great job of over the years. And then
DuPont, as we mentioned earlier, will be the heavy renovation with a strategic expansion, really assessing the building envelope, as we mentioned before. That really focuses on a refresh and expanded entry sequence to that library branch and really trying to help simplify the envelope from that side of the building. This will also increase the meeting spaces within DuPont. The studio and the storyscape space will also increase and improve. And then we are also considering outdoor gathering spaces and potentially a children's play space in this branch location as well.
Georgetown, we all know, has incredible after-school teen use, and so we want to make sure that we are responding to that need through an expanded and increased dedicated teen area within the building. We also know that this building is relatively landlocked, right? There's not a lot of space, and so here we're really looking at a heavy renovation of the existing building with, I would say, very select exterior improvements, specifically trying to create a safer pedestrian approach, especially for the after-school programs. Right now, there's no sidewalk or exterior access from the intersection, and so starting to look at how we can improve safe access to the amenities of the library itself.
Hessen Castle currently is under study just to really understand the feasibility of reusing the existing building in its current state, and that is ongoing. We are studying potential library relocation options for Hessen Castle, one to improve access to the branch location, but also to recognize that the infrastructure costs that are tied to improving the existing location are of some additional kind of study and awareness right now, recognizing that there are some additional structural concerns tied to this branch location, so that has played into additional considerations of a new location. And then also focusing on, again, just the community, the collaboration, and the meeting space that is desired in this branch location.
Then New Haven, as Aaron alluded to, that being more of the strategic refresh. The one thing that we think is exciting is that there is a potential opportunity for some, again, those library outside type spaces. The exterior plaza actually is covered. The outdoor Wi-Fi that was implemented during COVID is used pretty heavily, right? And so are there simple investments there? Just need something like a bench, right, that allows people to use that exterior plaza space. So this is one opportunity as well, that there could be a potential children's outdoor area on the south side of the branch. And so those are the types of things as we move into design in 2026 that we'll be continuing to tease out, even for a building where we're really looking at a strategic refresh of the interiors.
And then for Shawnee, we're looking and considering around a 17,000 square foot new branch building for Shawnee with that strategic future growth plan associated to that building. The site consideration and the land search process for Shawnee are still in progress and underway. This branch will also provide increased meeting spaces and, again, that elevated and improved studio and storyscape space, and also looking at including outdoor gathering spaces and the children's play space.
And during the engagement, we also heard a lot about how beloved this building is to the community.
That's right.
We know that there are some issues with the envelope and other challenges to the plan, but thinking as we move into design, again, with a new build, how do we still keep that vitality, that community continuity, the history of this building in a new structure? So. And then Main Library. There have been a lot of investments from the Phase 1 project already at Main. So we have the new roof, new chillers, the new solar array that were put on. There is a potential for select renovation as we determine the final scopes and budgets for the other 6 projects. Then we'll be able to assess how best Main Library moves forward within the context of the investment that's been made over the past year in this facility.
So we have included really what our initial kind of timeline looks like from where we are at this moment in time as we carry into 2027. And so as we mentioned, we've been working these last several months, six months really, almost 6 months, in the programming and conceptual pre-design phases, really to tee up and ensure that we, from a scoping standpoint, understand our marching orders as we move into schematic design. Schematic design is anticipated to kick off in January of 2026 with our consultant team partners, so we're excited about that. We're also excited about the construction manager being on board to help continue to validate scope and costs as we move into the formal design process. We are anticipating that the schematic design process may last anywhere between 3 to 5 months, the first 3 to 5 months of 2026. Then we will shift into design development, and we anticipate starting construction documents mid-summer of 2026, so that at least the first round of bid packages can be sent out to bid at the end of 2026. So that's the cadence kind of moving forward. We are starting to assess and understand from a library service and programming standpoint what branches want to remain online, what we need to phase in sequence appropriately as we work through the construction timeline, and those will all be things we continue to work through in these next couple of months. So with that, I guess we open it up for questions. But we just want to thank you for entrusting us in this process, and we've really enjoyed all of the work to date and are really excited to dive into the technical aspects as we move into the schematic design.
Nice presentation. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, it looks like you've done a great job there, and thank you for what you've done. Just curious, what kind of community engagement do you have, types of community engagement to decide on what you're going to do for designs?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something we're going to be working on as we kick off schematic design. We are scoped for another round of community engagement, and I do think as we move into the individual designs, it's going to look very different based upon project scopes. So for Georgetown or New Haven, where it's a renovation and we know we have a good sense of where things want to go, I think that will really be more of an update and informative. For the new builds for a Boyd and Shawnee, I think there's going to be interesting conversations that we can have with the community about things such as design values, right? Like what we were talking about with Shawnee, how do we really engage the community proactively as we start really ground up architectural design on those projects? So that's something we haven't finalized yet, but in a conversation with Susan, Tanya, and the library team, we'll be developing that in the new year.
Thank you.
Of course.
Further questions? Thank you, folks. Job well done.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Let's move then to item 10 on our agenda, the approval of the 2026 staffing table. Lorraine?
Good afternoon. In your packets is the authorized staffing table for 2026, which includes the 2% COLA increase that was approved back in September. The only other changes on this staffing table are 2 pay grade changes. We did a job analysis this past year and believe that 2 positions are not currently graded correctly. The duties of the audio reading service broadcast coordinator and the HR assistant have expanded significantly over the course of the past several years. When comparing criteria in these job analyses, including job knowledge required for the position, problem-solving, independent judgment, level of interpersonal skills, they both scored comparable to other positions in the pay grade above their current one. So we are recommending that the ARS broadcast coordinator position move from an A4 to an A5, and the HR assistant move from an A3 to an A4. This wouldn't result in additional pay for these 2 employees. They would still get the 2% COLA that was already approved. It would just put them in the appropriate pay grade. So those are the only 2 changes on that staffing table outside of the COLA.
May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
How about discussion? Seeing or hearing none? All those in favor of the authorization staffing table as presented, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. It passes. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, but I'm on the next part of the agenda,
Okay.
so I'll just stay up here if you don't mind.
No, that's fine. I
Unless,
just
do you
have
want to read
catch
the
a plane.
retirements, or do you want me to read the retirements
Why
this
don't you
year?
do the retirements?
Okay. So we had 6 retirements this past year. I put them in your packet in order of years of service. So at the top, you'll see Fadia or Faye Abdulhadi, who had 35 years of service at the library. She was in the Children's and Teens Department. Nancy Foland was at our Waynedale branch, and she had 34 years of service. Norm Compton, who was in Access Fort Wayne, had 26 years of service here at ACPL. Dave Sedestrom, who we all know very well, had 25 years here in the Finance Department. Linda Michaels had 22 years here and finished out in Adult Services, although she worked several departments before Adult Services. And George Johnson Coffey had 10 years in the Audio Reading Service Department. So we wanted to thank all of them for their years of service at ACPL.
Congratulations to all of them and a happy retirement.
Thanks.
Thank you. Susan?
Thank you, Ben. I submitted a written report, and I also have a few late-breaking news items. In partnership with the Indiana Center for Middle East Peace, the library hosted monks of the Lebrang Tashel Kayo Monastery from December 8th through December 13th as they created a very intricate and very beautiful sand mandala inside the Great Hall of the main library. My next announcement has some visual aids. Several of our libraries are inviting young patrons to make a meaningful difference this December through Toys for Tales, which is a hands-on crafting event where children create enrichment toys for animals, currently staying at Humane Fort Wayne, and here are some examples of them. So this is designed especially for children in 4th through 6th grades, and this is a fun, purpose-driven workshop that teaches participants how simple handmade toys can help keep shelter pets comforted, stimulated, and ready for adoption. So all the toys that the children make during these programs will be donated to Humane Fort Wayne for the pets there in residence. And speaking of service projects, at our December management team meeting, the staff participated in a service project in partnership with Blessings in a Backpack. We filled bags with snacks, socks, and encouraging notes that were delivered to students at a local Fort Wayne Community School elementary school. Last week, I, along with our youth services manager, Jackie, spoke at the Fort Wayne Community School Board meeting about library and school partnerships, and that was very well received by the trustees there. And a few things that didn't make the written report, but I wanted to share with you. So there is, and I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen pictures of it, a really beautiful Christmas tree on display at the State House that is decorated, themed around Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. And the First Lady asked for all counties to contribute an ornament decorated in the theme of their county and the Imagination Library. And an ornament was sent to me, and I immediately handed it off to my very talented assistant, Elena, because I do not have an artistic bone in my body, but Elena has many artistic bones, and she decorated a beautiful ornament themed around Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors, which is obviously a song and a children's book. And it is now hanging at the State House, and it even made 21 Alive the news. They did a story about the tree, and they featured Elena's ornament prominently in the story. So thank you, Elena, for representing us so beautifully at the State House. It is really gorgeous. Also, really exciting news. You are aware that the Holtz lockers at DuPont have been enormously popular. We've had them for over a year now. And they are soon to be coming to Waynedale and Tecumseh. They actually are already installed, and Tanya spent a good part of her week at both Waynedale and Tecumseh overseeing the installation. So they're actually on site, and we plan on having them operational sometime in January. But they're there, and they'll be ready to go really soon, and I know our patrons will be really excited. And thanks to DuPont for being the guinea pigs on that. And we can't wait to roll them out to other sites. So thank you, Tanya, for spending a good part of your week there overseeing that installation, and can't wait to roll out that service to even more libraries. Aja had a really big week because for the first time she had a story she pitched make national news. You may have seen that our local WBOI NPR station had a story about what they deemed an unlikely intergenerational friendship that happened at our Monroeville branch. A senior citizen and a young girl meet up at the library on a regular basis to play games and read stories and just have a really wonderful friendship. And they aired that story on our local NPR station. And All Things Considered, the national show, they picked up on it. And if you listen to All Things Considered yesterday, that story ran on it. Did you hear it?
I did.
It was so cool. So we were really, really excited that that was picked up on a national level. So you can hear it online. Also wanted to share, and you actually have an example of it at your place setting. We have some new items in our ACPL Friends merch store for the holidays, and one of those items is an historic calendar, and it can be yours. You have one as a holiday gift from me, but it can be available for anybody for sale in our store. The calendar was a collaboration between our marketing team and our special collections team. They help curate the historical photos, but there is a photo for each month of the year featuring a branch and a photo from years past. And I think the calendar turned out beautifully. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope the community sees it in our store and buys lots of copies of it. Every sale goes to help the Friends of the Library. We really appreciate everybody's support. There's also some other seasonal items in there, like holiday ornaments, as well as socks and scarves and hats and sweatshirts. So I don't know if you're going to get items in time for Christmas, to be quite honest, but there'll be plenty of time for January gifts. So encourage you to check out the store for your winter shopping, and I hope you enjoy your calendars. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Well, thank you for your thoughtfulness for the gifts. Let's move now on to new business. Well, is there any old business? Hearing and seeing none. Any new business that should come before this body? How about public comment? Would you like to be the public? Okay. Well, seeing and hearing none, let's move to a very special but bittersweet part of our agenda, the recognition of service of trustee Dr. Gloria Shamanoff. I know Gloria. Our family goes way back to when our kids were in magnet school about 300 years ago.
We don't say that.
Well, maybe 250.
Okay, that's okay.
And from that time on, we've grown to respect her knowledge and caring for kids, her ability to translate the written word into deeds and actions. And I got to revisit our knowledge of Gloria when we served on the board together. Gloria has served 16 consecutive years as a trustee, and we're going to miss her. And in recognition, would you like to talk about the Maker's Mark?
I would. So, Dr. Shamanoff, we are just so thankful and appreciative of your 16 years of service. You've been a true asset to our board. You're just beloved by our staff and our community, and we want to thank you. And as a small token of our appreciation, well, for one thing, we got you to brand because we know you love chocolate so very, very much.
I make that clear to everyone.
Yes, yes, we knew that. But also, what we have before you is a plaque honoring one of your favorite children's authors, Patricia Polacco, and that plaque was created in our studio on a laser engraver by our studio staff member, Gwen, with some assistance from Kirsten. And we think it turned out beautifully, and we hope you keep it in your home and look at it and think about us every time you see it.
That will be in my library room.
That's a perfect place for
I
it.
think so, too. I think so, too. Is it my turn? May I say a few words?
Absolutely.
Okay. I've reflected on these years, and for me, it's been pure joy.
Could you speak closer?
Okay. I've been thinking about this and hoping it would go away, but it doesn't go. But, years do go by. And for me to have been put into this position was sheer joy when I became a Huntertown principal and then an assistant superintendent. And it's because it goes way back to when I was a child that we didn't have the libraries like we do today. And there weren't really bookshops that you could go to and purchase. So my mom would go to the one library that was there and would get books, but she would also buy me some books and would spend time reading with me because I was an only child, and it was one way to keep me occupied. And she'd give me a little something to draw or whatever, and while she did her chores. And from that, libraries have just always been something for me. Now, as I've grown older, I'm a purchaser of books, much to my joy, but it won't be joyous to someone who's going to have to clean my home out at some point in time. But it's all organized. I know what I have and what I enjoy, and it has not stopped me from buying more books. And I'm grateful that we have books available for our children today. And I always encourage, I don't care if it's a parent, if it's a grandparent, if it's an uncle, if it's a good friend, that children are exposed to books at a very, very early age, even if they're a little wiggly, I did that my first time with kindergarten, and I remember it, and I thought I just was a failure, because my book sharing was very much more with second, third, fourth, and up. And, kindergartners, if you know, they do not sit still. And I knew that, so you would have thought I would have had a plan, but I did not. By the second time that I thought, I'm just going to go back and forth and show the pictures, but I'll just talk the story. So it's part of who I am, and I cannot say enough about how important getting children encourage them to be readers. And I don't care if you're reading a book to a newborn. Just hearing your voice is something wonderful for a child. And it just continues and continues and continues, and you hope that that will be part of your life. And it's been a very large part of my life. The work here, I've just been thrilled with it. And I'm so appreciative that you took notice of me and to put me into this position. I am sad to leave, but please remember I'm close by. So if you need something, I'm your person. It's been a time of honor and definitely a time of joy. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. We are adjourned. Godspeed.
Thank you.
We do have an executive session immediately following this, so if you'd like to take a 2-minute break, we'll resume in 2 minutes.